Hi, my name is Karen and I own and manufacture in a Canadian company called Plum Soapworks. I have never made a soaping video to post on YouTube before, so this is a first for me and I'm a little nervous, so you'll have to just bear with me as I get over myself and just do it. What I'm making first today is a soap with the fragrance Sweet Meyer Lemon from brambleberry.com. It is a sweet, kind of almost a bakery smell, but not really. It's a favorite of lots of people. I also make it in wax melts, and I think it is my personal favorite in that. This is my oil blend of coconut, palm, olive, castor, and cocoa butter. It's a very yellow blend of oils, and I find myself compensating for the yellow with titanium dioxide at times because I don't really want all my soap yellow, and with the goat's milk in it anyway, it does tend to go that way. I use the oils that I do because they make a nice hard soap, and it's bubbly and it lasts a long time, and it is what my customers like. So color is secondary, but just. Anyway, I'm going to give this a buzz. I don't want it too thick because I'm doing 2 loaves of this today and I want to have time to work with the batter. So I'm going to just buzz, so if you don't like buzzing, turn it down. I'm going to be using a yellow mica. It's what I have left from my TKB trading lemon pop. And I have ordered a new yellow from Mad Oils, and it looks very similar, so that makes me happy because I don't want mustardy yellows, and it's very hard to find a nice, fresh, light lemon. Anyway, I'm going to keep buzzing this a little bit, and we'll be back and carry on. I'm going to just give my spatula that I used in my lye a little wipe, and also my lye and goat's milk container, because I'm going to use it for the white part of my batter, and I hate doing dishes more than I hate wiping out containers to repurpose them while I'm making soap. So anyway, I am going to split this off, and we'll get going. Whoa! We'll get going on coloring it shortly. I just knocked over my titanium dioxide, and that was just a bit silly. Anyway, fragrance first, I guess. Fragrance, and I'm also using vanilla color stabilizer, vanilla white, I think it's called, from Nature's Garden. It's my favorite vanilla color stabilizer, because it works in cold process and it lasts for as long as I've ever had the soap and as long as I've ever kept it to use it. And I also have sodium lactate in here at 3% just because I like what it adds to the soap in the hardness, but also in, I just think there's a bit of a sheen that it gives the soap, and this one is not one that I'm going to gel because I don't want glycerin rivers in it, so I'm going to be setting that in the fridge, and I almost never do that, but for this particular soap I'm soaping pretty cold, and I'm also sticking it in the fridge just to prevent it from heating up, because I have found this fragrance is one that likes to heat a little bit. You know what? Now that I've done that, oh whoops, I have too much to go in just this container, so back it goes into the pail. and I will whiten it in the pail. These big cups hold 2,000 milliliters, and for a lot of batches it'd be enough, but this is a 24 bar batch and it's not happening, so that's fine. I can work with this. So anyway, I'm going to add my titanium dioxide to the big batter, and I just mix my water dispersible titanium in a beer cup, so that I'm planning on making more soap today. I figure that I just mix what I think I'll need for the day, but definitely I'm looking into taking that a little bit further and getting some mixing balls and a ball in which to store this stuff, because I find myself with some spills from time to time, and I'm not a fan. This is actually going to take all of this, so I don't usually whiten to this degree, but this is a very, very yellow fragrance. And my oils, as I said, are already yellow enough. So because it's a lemon soap, I don't mind the cream. I think it'll look fine once it's done. Anyway, I'm going to bring my yellow into the frame here, and maybe tilt you down just a little bit and see if I can't. No. Okay. And again, excuse me, I'm not a frequent videotaper, and before I actually post this, I'm going to have to get my daughter to help me to figure it out. That is actually a little bit more yellow than what I want for this. I think I want a little bit creamier look. So, in the interest of flying by the seat of my pants, sorta, kinda, I'm going to mix up a little bit more TD, and we'll mix that in, and it'll need a stick blend because it is a pigment, and pigments just don't do well with just hand mixing. The micas are fine, but not so much for the pigments. Anyway, you probably will see it lighten up a little bit, but I don't have a lot of faith in it being able to do that on its own. The batter is very fluid, which is a good thing. Now, maybe even lighten that up just a little bit. And since I have my yellow mixed and more white, I think I will lighten that up just a little bit more. Yeah. Okay. You know what? If you don't decide to do things, sometimes they just get decided for you. Now, did I whiten this too much? I don't know. I don't think I did. So, I'm going to switch you off and get my molds into view. And okay, I've got everything sorted out for my pour, and I've got my white ready to go. What I'm going to do is put a layer of white down without making too much of a mess, I hope. And then I'm going to follow with a layer of yellow. And I'm just going to make sure that's really, really mixed, because I thought I saw some streaks of fragrance oil in there, and I really don't want that. Alright, so moving along. As you can see, it's very fluid. This is not a problematic fragrance oil at all. And I'm going to try to eyeball this to make sure that it's close, but you know, I really, at this point, I'm not really worried. It's more finishing the loaf and getting it the way I want it that will dictate. And I'm banging it down, but there really aren't air bubbles at this point, I don't think. And then what I'm going to do to do my layer, and hopefully I don't have issues, you know, it's pretty fluid, so I'm gonna just spoon it on. And if this is taking a long time, change your channel, because everything isn't speedy with me. It's just not. And I'm hoping that this bottom layer firms up and I don't have to keep spooning, but it is what it is. So if you don't want to watch, don't watch. I'm delighted that you're here if you are. And if you've always wondered what this looks like, then welcome. I do have a Facebook page, Plum Creek Soapworks, and I generally list photographs of all my soaps, and I try to make sure that I have cure dates on them, or a halfway decent inventory. But okay, so I'm getting braver here. I just want to lay down a layer, but because I'm going to spoon swirl this, it really doesn't need to be super perfect. I just want it to disperse fairly evenly and not head down to the bottom. You see, I'm making a big mess of the sides, but I don't really care about that either, because it's going to be beautiful. Okay, so now I do want to save just a little bit for the top, but I'm not sure how much I have exactly, so we shall see. Scrape it up, and probably don't need as much as I have. Just going to get it off the sides a little bit. Okay, so there we go. I don't just make soap, I make other products that I've selected because I like using them myself, and some have been customer requests, but others I've just kind of tweaked over time, and there might be some people that are disappointed that I'm discontinuing my foaming salt scrubs, but I was finding that they were selling as a gift item more than as a personal use item. And so I don't want, I would like to have, you know, a devoted, faithful following for the product themselves, not just because somebody needs a gift that looks cool in a couple of jars. The whipped shea butters I will definitely keep because we use them here at my house, and I have lots of friends that really like them, so they get to stay. I am going to be making a, it's called a gelato sugar scrub, and I have made it in parfait glasses in the past, but I'm going to just be doing it in jars. And so they'll be in more fruity fragrances. I got a really, really nice creamsicle fragrance, and I'm going to do strawberries and cream rather than strawberries and champagne, which I have done in a lot of products, and I really like it, but I wanted more true gelato fragrances. Anyway, I'm getting up to the point where I can actually spoon swirl this, and I need one of my big parfait spoons, which, there we go. Big long guy like this. I like to dig in and swirl it. So I just go down and pull through all of the layers. And it is a very subtle swirl in this soap because the yellow is a pastel yellow, but it suits the fragrance. It's not a heavy fragrance. It's a lemon cream kind of yummy, and I love it. And it just isn't, doing it in a garish shade of yellow just would not speak to me. So we get to stay creamy yellow. Anywho, I try to go through for both sides, and you know, it does stay, because this is a thicker trace here now, it does stay defined inside the soap. It doesn't go wimpy into swirls that have no substance. So just continue pulling through, and then I'm going to tamp it down. And then I'm probably going to put you to wait a little bit because I want the rest of my white to be pretty thick when I spoon it on. So, tamping down, hitting pause, and I will bring you back when I'm ready to finish. Okay, we're back. I just took and dribbled the yellow on top of the loaves and just swirled it through with they're actually double pointed bamboo knitting needles, because I like a little bit more substance to the tool that I use. So sometimes I'll use an actual skewer, but most of the time, if the soap's a little thicker like this, I prefer to have it be a little bit thicker tool so that you can actually see something. Anyway, this is not thick by any means, but this is not a super high-topped soap either, so I'm just going to work with what I have and get it pretty on the top so that I can finish these and put them in the fridge. And like I say, I almost never refrigerate soap because I like gelling it. And yes, I make goat's milk soap, and yes, I gel it almost always. Because, you know, there are lots of opinions about doing this one way or the other, but somebody's going to disagree with me, and everyone, I'm just going to say everyone's entitled to their opinion. I don't think it wrecks the goat's milk. Some people do. Lye is going to transform just about anything, and the fat in the milk is going to become soap through the process. It is not going to stay this pristine, beautiful milk fat. It's going to change, and I don't think that gelling it changes it a whole lot more than it would otherwise. And I like there's almost a little translucent look to the bars. This one looks really nice when it's done, and I love the way it looks. However, I am refrigerating because this fragrance heats up and I don't want glycerin rivers. And glycerin rivers with titanium dioxide are a unfortunate truth. It just happens, and if you want to whiten soap, you gotta use it. And it isn't the milk that really makes my soap so yellow, it's the cocoa butter that I use. Cocoa butter and probably the olive oil a little bit, because my olive oil is very, very yellow. It's pure olive oil. It's not extra virgin. It's not pomace. Pomace is, I think it's just a weird color, but anyway, we all have our opinions. This is not a tutorial. I don't want anybody thinking that I'm offering tutorials, because I'm not. I'm doing this for my customers only, really, and if you want to watch along with my customers, have at it, because I also love watching soap videos, other soapers making soap. So I get it if it's sort of your evening entertainment. But I'm not going to tell you how I do this. I'm not going to share my recipe because I worked very, very hard perfecting my recipe into what I want it to be. Okay, so now, because this has had a chance to kind of firm up underneath, it's not, what I'm putting on the top is not the same texture at all. So I'm just going to swirl and whirl it around like that. And then I'm going to run my spoon, hopefully this works, just along the edge like that to make sure that it is in the mold and not just overflowing the edges. Because these tall skinny molds are from Voyager here in Canada. They're 15-inch, which, because I cut my soaps at 1 1/4 inches, it gives me 12 perfectly beautiful, nice little chunky bars. But they're skinny, and I actually kind of find it a bit of a pain to make tall skinny bars, but I get bored if they're all the same, so it's my own fault. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my knitting needle, as I said, my bamboo double pointed needle, and I'm just going to kind of make little whirlies on top. Because I put sprinkles on this one, I don't really need a lot of anything going on the top of the soap. I more or less just want it to be evenly distributed and uniform. So that one's good. And this one's almost good. There we go. Yeah. And I'm just going to take and give a swipe. This one is actually okay on that side, but this side needs a little something. I'm going to take my gloves off to do this. So if you've got issues with ungloved soapers, I am trying to do my very, very best to make sure that I'm safe. I wear goggles. I do wear gloves through most of the process, but when it gets to the tail end here where I'm finishing something and putting glitter on, it's just not practical. And I have had nasty raw soap burning, but I have running water like 8 steps away from me, and I have a heavy supply of paper towels and stuff to wipe it off. And the funny thing about raw soap is that it doesn't burn right away. You kind of have a few minutes before you get that awful, oh my goodness, what have I done to myself feeling. So if you get it wiped off quickly, it's not really terribly bothersome. Pardon the clatter while I find my pretty sprinkles and my pretty glitter, because this one gets pretty multicolored jojoba beads from Brambleberry, and they do look really pretty on the soap. This is the only one that I use these on, and you do get the odd person ask, what is that stuff on the soap? And I just go, it's sprinkles. Well, are they sugar? No, they're not sugar. They're jojoba, which is a wax, and they're just pretty, and I like the way they look. So they're going to stay. I'd actually really like to try these multicolored ones inside a soap, but I keep thinking that they would leave big drag marks, and yeah, I don't know. Anyway, part of what makes this soap get that cakey feeling, I think, is the jojoba beads on top. And then I'm just going to take a little bit of iridescent glitter and put that on top as well. And I actually, when I do any soap that has a pretty top, and most of my soaps do have pretty tops, I spray with alcohol. Because soda ash, to me, would just ruin the appearance of this soap, so I give it a really good spray. I'm not chintzy with the rubbing alcohol. I really wet it down, and usually when I wet it down like this, it's done. Anyhow, I'm going to pull you in a little bit closer, just so you can have a quick look at that and see that that's what it looks like. And I will be cutting this on video as well, so I will see you later. Thanks for watching.